Hello, welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. Alongside me, my co-host, Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, glad to be here. Week 3.
Is it hard to believe we're already to week 4?
Yes, because really, thought about it this weekend. 2 more games, including this week, and we're halfway through the 2019 season. So yes, it's very hard for me to believe. Going too fast, man, too fast.
Here's something I'm proud of, and I know you are too. Williamson County Schools 5-0 outside the county. Total record now 16-1.
Yeah, that's very big. And one of them's to a team ranked in the top 10 in the mid-state. Riverdale, 6A, Riverdale, Rutherford County team. But we have an overall, 2-1?
I think it's 3-1.
3-1 record against Rutherford County. So, yeah, that's big, man. There's some private schools.
Undefeated against the private schools.
Yeah, there's some private schools in those 16 wins. And so that's big, very big. And I know we're going to talk about it. Big win by Page out of county, so very, very proud of that record, yes.
Let's talk real quick about some other fall sports, cross country. Several events going on. Brentwood girls second at the Chickasaw Invitational in Oakville, Alabama. They were led by freshman Brooke Teal. How about this time, Tate? 19 minutes, 6 seconds. I can't drive that fast.
No. Do we know exactly how far a cross country race is? What does that average out to mile-wise? That's sub 7 minute miles, right?
It's 3.1, right?
Goodness gracious.
I believe it's 9. So we're talking,
Yeah, no,
6.5 minute miles?
She's sprinting. She's sprinting for 3 miles.
Franklin in this same event, by the way, finished 8th overall. Julia Foote finished 9th. The boys team from Franklin finished 3rd. Brentwood 5th. Nolensville girls 2nd in the Bluegrass Invitational in Lexington, Kentucky. Not Lexington, Tennessee. Freshman Alden Plant was the overall winner. On the boys' side for Nolensville, they finished 3rd. Parker Fegley finished 13th for the Knights. And by the way, there were over 300 runners.
It's pretty strong
in that event. Independence boys, winners of the Cherokee Classic in Knoxville. The girls, they were actually sort of short-handed according to the cross-country coach. Finished 5th. Other highlights in cross-country, Jacob Kukala. Hope I'm saying that right. It sounds like it could be right.
Good. You sold it.
He finished 3rd in the meet at Hendersonville. Annalie Neely finished 9th. Amanda LaBoy, 10th in the same event. And then our final cross-country meet, Fairview hosted a meet. Alyssa Andrea, again a freshman. So that's 3 freshman girls who won their races. And then junior Ryan Keaton finished 3rd on the boys' side. Soccer actually attended this event. Traditional WCS rivals. Brentwood with a 3-1 win over Franklin. Franklin had a tough loss. Their goalie, Jean Costello, was out. Not sure if she's injured, by the way, Creed, so I think I can say that. And then in volleyball, this was very exciting.
You were there at this too, I've heard.
Yes, I was definitely there.
Made it back to me.
Great atmosphere. So Ravenwood wins the first 2 sets. They're up 2 sets, and 5-2, I think, was the score. Brentwood hadn't lost, I think it's either 4 or 5 years, haven't lost a league game. The last loss was to Ravenwood. They come back and win. Great atmosphere. The students were there, which was pretty exciting there. But one of those teams, I predict.
Brentwood came back and won that.
Yes,
match.
3 sets. Did I not say that?
I don't think so.
3 sets to 2.
You were getting to it.
Great comeback. And here's one we haven't mentioned, which this is a big time deal. We're not talking Dixie Youth Baseball or all these World Series winners. They got 10 national champions,
right.
So you don't really know who the real national champion is.
Correct.
Robert Hassel of Independence. He's been competing for the United States in the World 18U Cup in South Korea. If he's in South Korea, I'm assuming this is pretty legit. We're talking USA Baseball here.
Oh, this is it. This is the team. Take all those other all-star teams and all that. This is the team. Yeah, you're one of the best.
So the U.S., by the way, finished 7-2. They lost to Chinese Taipei in the final, so they had the silver medal. You're impressed with this knowledge?
I'm very impressed. I really am.
He was named to the All-World team. Now get this, one of 11 players who were named to the All-World team for that tournament. He was one of only 4 for the United States name. I'll tell you this, sorry to tell you, Tim Corbin and Vandy.
You're not getting him.
He's not playing for Vandy.
No. They know it.
I mean, that guy's going to be making some money. I need to become pretty friendly with Robert and his family. Maybe I could be his agent.
Well, his dad's a lawyer. Maybe you
I'm
can
out
use him
then.
for some of your
No,
services.
I'm probably out then. All right, let's get to football. We're going to start with that game you talked about earlier. Page 34, Shelbyville 29, a wild finish there in Rudderville. The final play happened 3 times, right?
3 times.
Talk about that, Tate. What happened there?
Well, they got it down to the Shelbyville got it down to inside the 10, and then scored a touchdown. Actually, I believe got called back because of an infraction. Then,
illegal receiver, illegal man downfield.
Illegal man downfield. What a heartbreaker. You know, that's kind of a judgment call too. So I was not there, but and Coach Paul,
did you see the video?
No, I did not see.
I saw the video.
Was he downfield?
They had a little dip. Well, they had a. You trust in my judgment? But they had like a reverse or something right before, so I could see how that did happen.
Well, yeah, the longer that play lasts, you know, the easier it is for those guys to get downfield. Came back, and then they ran the play again. Page stops them, but this time there's an infraction on Page.
Pass interference, which it was.
Pass interference, which it was, and then 3rd down they stop them. So really cool. You know, that's become a great game the past few years. And just a really cool environment. And again, man, I think he's okay with me saying this. You know, Coach Rathbone, one of the most humble dudes. He's not as, you know, he's not as loud of a personality as a Coach Joins at Franklin or a Ron Crawford at Brentwood, right? But man, I think all he does is win, man. He keeps his and 2 things: his teams don't panic, and his teams play hard for him for 4 quarters. I thought it was awesome. Congratulations to him.
It's pretty easy to root for Coach Rathbone.
I'm a big fan.
It is.
Yeah. But, you know, it came down last play 3 times. It took them to finally get it. They got the win. They got it at home. Bubba Johnson, another 3 touchdowns. The cool thing is when you look at the first 3 weeks, he's got multiple touchdowns, I think, in every week. But I don't even know if he's cracked 100 yards rushing yet. So we're getting the ball down the field with Cade Walker and Miles Bond and the fellas, with Van Landingham at tight end. But then when we get close, kind of like you saw in the battle of 840, you're going to get a heavy dose of Mr. Johnson, and he's a powerful guy who can get it in. So, again, cool thing, scoring a lot of points, but we're not getting him beat up. We're not giving it to him 20, 25 times a game. So he's going to be fresh come playoffs, but big win. The stat of the game, and I got to be honest, we talked about it. I had to text Coach Rathbone because I said, this isn't right. Austin Horseshoe, Coach Bone confirmed it, so I'm good with it now. 21 tackles, 13 assists, 13 solo, 8 assists. That's unbelievable.
It's got to be some kind of record for Page or
back in the
right?
Jackie Bennett days, there were some inflated, which he's my guy, but there were some high tackle numbers there. I think they recorded it a little differently. That's okay. 21 tackles, man. Think about that. I hope he took an ice bath on Saturday.
Now,
congratulations, Dawson.
Here's something that stood out to me. Because I was at Beach High School, they would do this same kind of thing with Jalen Hurd. Cade Walker goes in, he plays safety on the play before the last play, and makes a game-saving tackle.
Makes a game-saving tackle.
He said, he alluded to this in the paper, it was the first time he had been put in there since his freshman year, which 2 things. Number 1, what's the relevance of practice, right?
Exactly.
Talking about practice?
We're going to put an athlete out there.
And then he makes a play.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about Cade.
Did you read his quote?
Which one? You talking about Cade?
About that play.
No, what did he say?
He said that. He said, I'm in there and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to make a tackle. I haven't done this in 3 years. I think he was basically like, please don't let me miss this tackle. And he didn't. Big-time players make big-time plays.
How about, you don't want to look ahead, and we can look ahead, right? The October 4th matchup that looms with Summit.
It's going to be huge.
That's going to be a big-time game.
Really fun.
All right, our WCTV game of the week. Turns out it wasn't quite the game that maybe we thought it was going to be. Centennial 14, Independence 45. Independence, now I like this, and in talking to Coach Blade about this, you're seeing more with the rushing stats.
Yes.
10 different guys rushing the ball. Ethan Cash found 6 different receivers. He was 16 for 23 for 183 yards. But during a big stretch in the first half, he was 10
of 11
for 11, including a touchdown pass to Chase Bishop, which was our WCTV play of the week.
As Independence in the midst of a big construction project here. Cash firing to his right.
Oh,
Again.
Bishop off to the races.
all the way for the touchdown is Chase Bishop. He'll go 35 yards on the reception. As we take a look again.
Yeah, we'll see right here. It's basically up top. No one's going to see play the quick out. Bishop should be tackled 3-4 yards, 1 miss, 2 miss, and forget about it. Bishop 35 yards later, touchdown.
Well, yeah, and I think the best thing about that was we were talking earlier before show with intern Lance. Not intern anymore, but still intern Lance.
He was an intern 10 years ago.
I know, but he's still intern Lance.
Of course.
That's a term of affection. Should that have been the play of the game? Here's what I think was cool about it. Was there anything special about that? Yes, there was something special about it. It's a 5-yard hitch. You throw to a playmaker who's a guy down the road that you're going to need to make plays for you, right? And that's what he did. He turned a little 5-yard hitch, Chase Bishop. Nice throw. Got it to him where he could get it and turn upfield by Cash, and he turned a 5-yard gain into a 40-whatever yard touchdown, and that just goes to show another one of the weapons that they have. We're getting this rushing game going, and then knowing you've got that on the outside, that's pretty scary, and that's part of the excitement and the anticipation they had for Bishop when he got here. So once they get that part going, that's going to be pretty scary because they're sitting here at 2-1 and obviously getting better.
Bright spot for Centennial. Desmond Smith, 124 yards rushing. The negative part of that, they only had 133 total. And you obviously picked Centennial just to be different than me.
Correct.
But I don't think either one of us would have anticipated 45 to 14.
No, I didn't. The other thing, too, you were mentioning that rushing game. Back to Independence real quick. You were talking about all the guys rushing. Four different people rushed for touchdowns, and Cash had two. Three different guys had rushing touchdowns. Cash had 2. But Desmond Smith, someone else is going to have to carry the load for him, right? Because it's becoming more and more obvious. Now, the cool thing is they were keen on him, and he still had 125 yards. 2 of them were touchdowns, and they were both, over 25 yards or whatever. So what does that tell me? What does it, I think, tell you? You give Desmond Smith a little bit of space, he's probably going to the house. So they got to find some other guys to step up around him. I think once Marcel gets fully back, he can. But, someone else is going to have to contribute, or it's going to be a long year.
Ravenwood, 28-0 winner at Franklin. They moved to 2-0 in the region. Franklin drops their first region game. Another quick start by Ravenwood. Garcia took it in from the 1-yard line for the opening score. Tony Rice with a pair of touchdowns rushing in the first quarter. 21-0 after the first. Again, for all intents and purposes, like the Centennial game, probably over at that point.
Yes. Now, the only thing was, jokingly this weekend said to Coach Daniels, "What's going on, man? What's up with the slow start?" Because they've scored on the first play, the first two games of the season. First play is a touchdown. It took them till the 9:28 mark. So I don't know what's going on.
They were messing around a little bit.
We got to get that fixed. Well,
and plus, they've won they've gotten the ball to start all 3 games, right?
Well, I don't know about this one, but. Obviously, I don't know. I don't think
at 9:28 mark, I'm going to guess they did.
Well, maybe they got a. Yeah. You're probably right. I guess they did. Yeah. So it took them a little longer this week. We need to work on that in practice this week, fellas. That's not going to get it. But and you mentioned Rice's 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. He ended up with 3. I don't know. I was looking at the stats. Coach Webb sends us the stats. Ravenwood for the entire game averaged 9.7 yards per offensive play.
Wow.
I don't know how you lose.
You can't lose.
I don't know how you lose when that happens. One thing, though, because we're playing really, really well, I did notice one thing, and I'd like to know. I'm sure Coach Daniels will address it. 14 penalties for 150 yards for the Raptors. That won't cut it this Friday night. You agree?
I'll agree, especially with this one.
That's what I mean.
Guy Lipscomb, a bright spot for the Rebels, 125 yards passing, 95 on the ground. And I wanted to ask if you saw, did you see the deal on Twitter where the run out for Ravenwood and Coach Daniels is putting the smoke? I'm telling you, it's pretty awesome.
That was Dr. Qualls-esque. They kind of have that together. Oh, it's very cool, man.
It's great. And there's obviously different ways to do it. To me, the main thing, you talk about Coach Rathbone, totally different guy.
Yeah, he wouldn't be doing that.
But it's authentic.
That's right.
It's authentic from Coach Daniels. It works for him. It's authentic from Coach Rathbone. It works for him. But I loved it.
I did too.
I really
You can
did.
tell those kids did too.
Summit, Columbia. Let's move on to our next game. This game was a little closer than you thought it was going to be. I said, hey, this might be close. Columbia actually up after a couple early scores, 14-0. But I'll say this, and maybe this is a good thing that this happened. It's a sign of a good team. You get down, maybe not playing your best. No disrespect to Columbia. You're down 14, no panic.
No panic.
They just kept chipping away. In fact, they didn't have their first score, so it's not like they scored immediately. It's about midway through the second quarter.
That's right.
Wade to make it 14-7. And then another, I don't know if you saw this, Tate, but there was a penalty of some type when it was 14-7 that brought a touchdown back.
Right.
Columbia ends up punting instead of getting a touchdown. Obviously, that was big mo changing there.
Oh, without a doubt, they could have had 21, and who knows where. I think Summit still wins this game, but it definitely doesn't end up like this. That's where the wheels started to come off. But we knew Columbia had athletes; they always do. Coach Hope does a good job. But yeah, you're right. It was not only did Columbia score the first 14 points. You're right. It was almost halfway through the second quarter before Summit got their first touchdown. Now, that's the other thing that's pretty. If you're a Summit fan, pretty exciting. That's how explosive this offense is. They scored 34 points in 2.5 quarters.
Wow.
You know, and so, yeah, I think that's great. I didn't talk to Coach Coleman. I'm guessing they did start slow. You know, you've talked about it from your times as a coach. You know, these kids are smart. When you show them film, they usually know when they're better than somebody. I'm guessing that had something to do with it. But neat lesson. They were able to come back and fight back from it and have a big win. We talk about it all the time, and we didn't get as much into it with Cash, but just like you mentioned, 10 for 11. All these quarterbacks are so good, man. And we've talked about it so much already in 3 weeks, and we're going to continue to. But Destin Wade, he was 16 for 19, 267 yards, 4 touchdowns.
It's a pretty good night.
Holy smokes, he's a sophomore, man. Yeah. No picks. So, yeah, when your quarterback's playing like that, pretty easy to not panic when you're down 14. And the other cool thing, too, that I thought went unnoticed is those first 14 quick points, but then for the entire game, Summit's defense only gave up 177 total yards. You don't win a lot of ball games like that.
Well, and give Coach Coleman credit. You said something about this after week 1 when they played Independence. He's sticking to this, we're going to throw the ball. And he even mentioned in the paper, hey, I'd like to run more.
Right.
I would love to run more. But Destin's ability dictates we do something differently. So I give him total credit for doing that.
Without a doubt. And Garcia does it. I haven't been able to see Gallardi yet, but Garcia does this. I saw Ethan Cash do it to CPA, and I know that Destin can do it for Summit, though, is they can extend plays with their feet, and that doesn't necessarily mean running. They can move the pocket a little bit and give those guys, time to get open. And so if you'll just keep calling the pass play, usually something good is going to happen with any one of those three because they're so good with both their feet and their legs. Their arms.
Sometimes you got to let a player make a play.
Let an athlete be an athlete.
No doubt about it. Nolensville, sort of been the opposite of Ravenwood in terms of quick starts. Another slow start for them. Actually down 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, but then obviously they righted the ship and got it going. First 3-0 start in the school's 3-year history, but Nolensville is one of those schools. I had to do a double take on that. It seems like they've been a school longer because usually in year 3, you're not playing the way they're playing.
Right. Oh, without a doubt. No, they've had that thing ramped up, and we talk about it all the time with the other sports. But I think this year for football, now it's a little bit easier non-district schedule, but that doesn't matter. They're playing really well. We knew Watertown was going to be good. We saw where Watertown last Friday beat Trousdale County in overtime. I'm telling you, Trousdale County's good. One of those two will be playing in Cookeville at the Blue Cross Bowl. But the only thing that I would think is concerning about that, a 28-point win, how can that be concerning? They were only up 3-0 at halftime over Watertown, and then they got that thing going, 31 points in the second half. I don't know what's causing the slow start at Spring Hill. At Nolensville, but I know Coach Derrick wants that corrected. Pretty neat stat. Were you getting ready to mention Kuchers?
It's pretty. It almost sounds like fiction, right?
ahead.
5 receptions,
Yep.
78 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 tackles, and 2 interceptions.
Correct.
So he had 7 receptions then, actually, right?
Yes. And for the
Two for the
game, for the season, he has 4 receiving touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Incredible.
That's pretty neat. And Gallardi played great again. And guess who had another touchdown?
My man, Samson Johnson. Best freshman in the league, right?
Yeah, maybe in the flipping state, mid-state. 3 for 3.
Are we putting that out there?
Let's see what happens next week.
Okay, let's see what happens. Fairview.
It's in the queue. You like that?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Fairview, 34-6 winners over Cheatham County. Region opening win, well on their way, although it's one game, but I'm going to say well on their way to the region four-peat. Our man, Logan Nardozzi, another big game. Do you think, and again, it's early, he's got a shot to be another Mr. Football finalist, right?
Yeah, he does, without a doubt. It's the thing that stinks is, and it's the same thing Cam ran into. There's probably going to be a pretty good player from a school in East Tennessee, and it's just so hard to get the statewide media to, and maybe it's the right thing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be tough to win that thing overall. But it doesn't matter to me, kind of like making it to the AAA state basketball tournament in TWSAA. If you make it to Murfreesboro, that's good enough for me. That's special. And I think, yes, he could be a Mr. Football finalist and probably will. And just another big game. Page, I know it doesn't make it any easier for them, but that Page loss every week, you see, dang, Page is a really good football team. They're not going to see anybody else like Page the rest of the week. And here's the thing I thought was cool. Anakin King, he's the one. Guy Ritchie's a new starting quarterback. Not Guy Ritchie, Guy Lipscomb. You know who Guy Ritchie is, the movie producer. Qualls would love that. I didn't mean to do that. Guy Lipscomb is a new starter this year. They are the 2 new starters. But Anakin King, we really didn't know what he was about. Nardozzi, we're going to run the ball. 2 touchdown passes to Garrett Wooten. He hit him for 1 last week. This is a connection that's getting better and better, and you're going to hear more and more about it as the year goes on.
Our final game, boat race, Popcorn City, all those things.
I don't
you guys
know
like
what to call this.
Okay, so get Brentwood. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, right? 5 in the second. You'd kind of be hard-pressed to get the ball 5 times in a quarter, wouldn't you?
Well,
much less score 5 touchdowns. And Dixon County still, after 3 games, they haven't scored yet.
Yeah.
101-0. Not to make fun and give our folks at Dixon a hard time, but I'm telling you, that's got to be tough to coach that team right now.
Tough. And I don't know where it gets any better for them, but
3 first downs, only 61 yards of offense the entire game.
That's tough. I don't know. I don't know if there's that is not even popcorn. That's eating popcorn while you're driving your boat. Aaron Walton, 4 receptions, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Granzow had 5 total touchdowns again. We got to do we need to do a thing. We did this with Cam Harris a couple years ago, and they were doing scoring leaders for the state, total touchdowns. We got to look this up. I'm sure the kid from Gallatin's in there, but Granzow's got to
be in there.
Yeah.
Has to be in there. All right, let's talk about our games this week. Nolensville has a bye this week, so we don't have to go into that. Brentwood, 3-0 at 1-2 Henry County, but let's talk about that. The 2 losses for Henry County. Last year's state runner-up Haywood, right? And then also Beach High School, who was a semifinalist and many think have a good chance of winning the state title this year. So probably one of the better, I know you talk about Blackman as well, one of the better 1-2 teams in the state, right?
Yes, and as you know from your days at Beach, it's going there. That's a different place, man, when you go there, right? We're probably going to, it's just.
They're getting ready to leave.
They're getting ready to, that's right, they're getting ready to leave.
About 4 days away, they're leaving here soon.
It's not easy to get there. It's roads that don't matter. And, I pride myself in not being a guy that complains about the officiating, but there's been a long history of when you go in there, you better beat them, because if it's close, you ain't beating them. Is that fair?
Brentwood, you're defending this goal line. Right. Henry County, we are defending this one.
That's
right?
exactly right. You better beat them. Now, I think they will, and Coach Counts, who, he and Coach Crabtree are, if not best friends, very good friends, and they really like to coach the same way. You're probably going to get a heavy dose of the run game. They're going to try to limit,
sure.
I would think, Granzow's opportunities on offense. So they're going to need to play crisp. But no, this won't be 63-0. No.
Centennial 1-2 at 0-3 Siegel. This will be the third game for Siegel. 0-2 against Williamson County Schools. We hope that continues. Fairview, non-league game for the Yellow Jackets, traveling to Waverly. Waverly 1-2. Their lone win, a 48-12 win over Hickman. This isn't Hickman County, is it? Coming
No.
Coming to this Friday. Franklin Summit, the WCTV game of the week, and one of the better games of the week, I think. Maybe not totally, but maybe a must-win type of feel for the Rebels, even though it's not a region game, for confidence. And
if not, you're sitting there at 1-3. I mean, it could get you back to 2-2. So, not must-win as far as region standings go, but yeah, I would think overall morale and attitude in the locker room.
Independence 2-1 at 1-2 Blackman, probably the best 1-2 team in the state with losses to Alcoa and Ravenwood. I would argue 99% of the state would be 0-2 against those two teams.
I would say 99%. And the other thing too that we're leaving out is they got beat by less than a touchdown against Alcoa at the end, and then 3 points to Ravenwood. So very easily could be 2-0.
Page will host Lipscomb Academy, 3-0 against 2-1. Page obviously coming off a big win. Probably have to fight a letdown a little bit. Lipscomb, 2-1, off to a good start, but I'm not going to say they're the best 2-1 team.
No, I'm not
Based
going
on
to say
the
that.
schedule.
They are much improved.
But the schedule's not exactly been.
No, the schedule's not. Well, Glencliff, you saw. So, I would say they're better. They'll come in here and drop some dimes, but it won't be enough times.
Ravenwood. This is really a national significance kind of game. Hosting Pulaski Academy. Now, listen, I got some stats for you
This
here.
is big time.
Pulaski Academy won their opener 84-68. And I was surprised to find out that was 2 points shy of the state record. They were not part of that game back in 2016. Forget the name of the other team, but Nashville was one of the schools. So I don't. Quarterback, now get this. Braden Bratcher. They've only played one game. They're 1-0. He had 520 yards passing and 6 touchdowns. 521. 119 yards rushing and 1 touchdown in the first half.
That's insane.
693 yards for the game. That's a state record for passing yards. It's 9th nationally. 693. So the second half, he only had, 172 yards. You got to pick it up a little bit, old Brady.
Yeah. We need to finish on the condition. But no, okay, go back, because that's important for the people going. Go back to what his first half stats were. There's only one way that's possible.
521, 6
There's only one way that's possible. We know they onside kick every time. Tim Johnson told me about this. He used to be the principal. He said 1 year he's standing on the sideline. It was 28-0 before the other team ever touched the ball.
And it was a good team they were playing.
And it was a good team. They get the opening kickoff. They score, onside kick, get it, score, onside kick. That's what's. I mean, if you're not going to any other game, you got to go to this one. You have to. It's going to be fun. And I still don't.
Fireworks.
I know we got our picks to go. I still don't know that PA can come in here and win. But gosh, that's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about our pick'ems before we do them. 7-0 last week. The old basketball coach, 20-2 for the year. The expert.
Who's helping you on this? No, I'm kidding.
The expert.
Great job.
The expert, 6-1, 18-4 for the year, so you're 2 behind me.
Gosh.
Dr. Qualls, he wanted me to mention this. He was 7-0, and he's 19-3 for the year. So he's one up on you right now. And then our fans, and by the way, continue to go to WCSCO Athletics, WCSCO Athletics, to vote. Our fans are 20-2. So pretty
I'm bringing
impressive.
up the rear, man. I'm the caboose.
All right, here we go. Let's make our picks. Brentwood at Henry County. What say you, Tate?
Brentwood gets a road victory.
I'm going Brentwood. Centennial at Siegel. I'm going with the Cougars.
I'm going with the Cougars too. I just don't think the Siegel Stars have any. I don't know if they have enough playmakers.
Fairview at Waverly. Fairview.
Boat race. No, not boat race. Popcorn City.
Franklin versus Summit. Now, I said, Old Sparty, I wasn't going to pick against you. I'm going with the Rebels at home, riding the ship, so to speak.
I don't think that's a crazy pick, but I just think they got something special going right now. I think that quarterback's special. I'm going with the Summit special.
I agree with all of that. Still going with Franklin.
Yeah, well, you probably need to.
Independence at Blackman. Independence obviously much improved from week 1 to week 4. Tall task. I think it's going to be a pretty good game, but I'm going Blackman.
I'm going to go Blackman too because I think they're really, really good. But also the last 2 weeks I've picked against Independence, and what have they done? They've won. So I'm doing Independence a favor. I'm picking Blackman.
Page Lipscomb Academy, blowout. Page.
I think Page wins, but I do not think it's a blowout.
Blowout.
Cade Walker, buddy, I need you to drop some dimes out there, brother. But I think he does, but it's not a blowout.
He'll be the dime dropper in this game.
Yes.
Believe me.
Yes.
Page,
Cade dimes.
Ravenwood Pulaski Academy. Look, I'm going Ravenwood. Darrin McFadden, Felix Jones, they're not walking through that door. I'm going Ravenwood.
I have no idea how to pick this because I don't know how good they are. They're obviously pretty good, but I don't think they see as physical of a team as what they're going to see from the Ravenwood Raptors, that front seven. I don't think Ravenwood's put their complete game together yet, and I think Matty D is going to have these guys on edge, man. I think Ravenwood wins, but I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun to talk about.
Can't wait to talk about it next week.
Without a doubt. There you go. Awesome.
Can't wait to talk to you next week. Tate, thank you for being here this week.
It's fun.
We'll see you next time on Sports Connection.